Hello you guys, welcome back to another episode. Today I am talking all about wedding planning, specifically the planning stage in all of this journey that you're going through at the moment. This is one of the most common questions we get asked: how to start, where to even start, and I guess how do you take the first steps in going through this process, because it could be newly engaged and once you, I guess, the dust settles from that excitement, then you're sort of left with the bit of the guesswork as to where to even begin with this. So I'm going to dive in how we go through all of that. Okay, so stage one with us is all about getting a feel for the look, the style, the vibe, the feeling that you're looking to achieve overall in your wedding. And I guess where you sort of envision in terms of a location, the sight, smells, sounds, all of those things come into play. And what we do from there, from that consultation, is we really, I guess, go out and vet the appropriate vendors that are going to be able to fulfill that vision that you initially have. And yes, we talk about things like investments and your ideal budgets within those certain categories, and from there we can narrow down our search as well in terms of those vendors. And then what we do from there is we put together a bit of a short list for you. So this is where we compile all of our best match suppliers and vendors that you're looking for, and we put that into a document where you're able to have transparency over their social links, their pricing guides, a little bit about them, and all the information that comes with that particular supplier. So what that then enables you to do is make a really informed decision based on professional suppliers that we are happy to put forward for you on our behalf. And I think there's a lot of value in that, where it removes a lot of the guesswork and a lot of the researching. So that's sort of our, I guess, first stage in really sourcing the appropriate suppliers and vendors that are going to fit your vision and your budget brackets, and being able to compile them into a short list for you to make an informed decision on. If you're doing this on your own and you're not reaching out to a professional wedding planner, for instance, then I would also start there. There is another video that I have produced earlier on. Please go back and watch that if you haven't already. But that is all to do around how do you decide which supplier to go with. And I'll quickly touch on that because it's so important, but that's all around the basis of selecting suppliers and vendors whose work you really love and who you genuinely get along with, because you are investing a lot of time, energy, friendship, yes, and money as well into these people. And if it becomes a very transactional, I guess, thing where you're only solely making a decision based on price and none of the other factors, then it's going to be that kind of relationship. It's going to be very transactional. And I find, just in my experience in the industry and I guess the feedback and witnessing scenarios like that as well, is the experience then becomes hard work for the couple, because they're having to constantly chase down emails to get a reply. All these little red flags just seem to keep popping up, and then when they won't step beyond their boundary of what they're getting paid for, because if something doesn't go right and it requires a few of the suppliers to really band together as a team to make something happen behind the scenes, because no one's got a crystal ball. You can plan things to an absolute T, but there is guarantees that some things, big or small, will go wrong. And if you're able to have a team that are fully, thoroughly invested in you and have your back no matter what, then they are not even going to bat an eyelid when it comes to rolling up their sleeves and doing a little bit of extra work in order for the day to run a little extra smoother, or for your guests to feel a little bit more welcome, or for you and your partner to feel a little bit more at ease on your wedding day. It really is when you invest on the people that you genuinely get along with and the work that you value and appreciate, that relationship no longer becomes this transactional thing. It's so much more in that it's an investment, meaning that not only is it an investment obviously in terms of pricing, but it's an investment in that it's a two-way street. You're invested in each other and having a successful day. Your suppliers are going to be there and have your back. So if you haven't watched that video, please go back and watch it. It's all about where to start with your wedding planning, and yeah, that is my number one tip there. And then go and vet them, I guess. Make sure that they fit your vibe, that yeah, you get along really well with, and they tick all of those boxes for you as well, which is super important. Okay, so you've got your short list of vendors, you are pretty set on who you want to lock in each category, which is fantastic. Now there comes a little bit of the administration side to things. So yes, that means you have to make Excel your bestie, and please don't be afraid of it. I know as a creative, I don't spend my days sitting behind a spreadsheet, but I have created spreadsheets that are super easy to follow. They're shareable, so between you and your partner, you can update things as you go. Your planner can be in there as well. It's accessible and really easy to follow. So by this, I mean, you really have to get organized in terms of a budgeting spreadsheet, and keeping, I guess, a bit of a running list of who you're booking for what and what that entails. So I guess, for example, a caterer, what sort of, is it a 3-course meal, 2-course meal? What is the price per head on that? Are you adding on dessert, or are you adding on a grazing table, for instance? You know, all of that important information gets put into this document, and then that total quoted price gets listed there. So then you go through absolutely everything involved in your wedding. Our planning spreadsheets also go into all of the pre-preparation, so things like your bridal gown appointment payments that you put in, any hair and makeup trials, spray tan trials, teeth whitening, nails, all of those sorts of things. Everything gets included in that spreadsheet, so nothing goes amiss. But you can add, if you've got specialty items that you're wanting to include, then you can simply add that in as well. But what that planning spreadsheet acts as is a running total. So at the bottom you will have your projected total budget that you are wanting to stick within, and then that's broken down obviously into each category or each item, each supplier, based on the research and the quotes that you have obtained or your planner has obtained, and that all goes into a working document. Now with that as well, as you're paying deposits or installments and payments as you go, these need to be factored in as well, because not only is it handy to know the total budget that you're looking at, but you have to know where things are standing once you've started to lock things in with paying deposits. So there's also a column for that included, and if you're doing this yourself, I strongly suggest putting down a deposits column, so that can tally up as well at the bottom, and then you can simply have a subtraction in there, knowing how much you have total left owing on your whole wedding as a whole. With that, I will put a column next to it as well, and also write down the dates of those payments, just to keep track of when the deposits were made, just in case the question arises, and then I don't have to go back through bank statements or emails and things like that. It's all in that spreadsheet. You can put even down a reference number in there for a transaction if it's a direct transfer, for example. All of those are super handy. Now this might seem like it's a lot of detail. The thing is, it's all so necessary, because all of these, I guess, checkpoints and steps in doing these things are the key components to mitigating any stress that might arise later down the track. So we're trying to I guess, fail proof as much as we can any of that stress and overwhelm in our planning. So that's where it really comes down to getting organized, and by having a spreadsheet that's accessible for you and your partner and your planner, just is going to save you so much time, so much guesswork, so much stress, all of the things there. So I strongly recommend doing that. Now, we go a little bit further in our planning spreadsheets in terms of, we will then also go and break down the payment due dates for those all of those suppliers. So for during when things are going to be popping up, then it's all in this spreadsheet. And you can, once you have all of that information as well, if you are a forgetful person like me and just are too busy in day-to-day life, then you can even pop it in your calendar on your phone and set a reminder that a due payment is coming up. So all of those things, all of those tools, they're really simple, quick and easy steps, because once you start gathering the pricing information and just general, I guess, inclusions kind of information from all of your suppliers and terms and things like that, that holds all of the information you need. All you're doing is putting it in a simple spreadsheet that's easy to look at, easy to find at a glance, really quickly. So spreadsheets are going to be your best friend. What we do is in our planning document is we have multiple tabs. So we will have like a running budget one, which I just spoke to then. We'll also link that with a tab that has our whole guest list on there. It also records RSVPs coming in and out, their addresses. If we have to note down any like dietary requirements or special needs requirements for the guests, we can note all of that in there as well. And we have another tab that's linked to a like a general contact information for the bride and the groom, or the bride and groom, but then their bridal party, and I guess their second point of contact to that as well. So if they're in hair and makeup and they need to be contacted, who is next in line that they can contact? Is it a maid of honor? Is it a parent? You know, someone like that. All of that important information. And lastly, we have a vendor contact sheet and a timeline. So these two components of the overall planning document are also really important. And again, we're all about putting in, I guess, the effort from the onset to be able to plug in all of this information. So when it comes to a few weeks before the wedding, 95 or 97% of the work is already done. It just takes a little bit of tweaking if needed. So a vendor contact sheet will list the names of all of the suppliers and vendors involved in that wedding. We'll also put their contact details, like a phone number, a contact name, their email address, and their Instagram handle. And why we do this is for, obviously, if you've got to get a hold of somebody, then it's easy to relate back to. But we're able to then also export that sheet, that document, like that page, if the wedding happens to be going into an online blog feature or a magazine feature, to credit and tag everybody else involved, your entire wedding team. Because I guarantee you, when the time comes that your photos or sneak peeks even are ready to be shared, everybody loves jumping on that and sharing the incredible day that you had. I know that's something that we love. We love looking back through those photos and reliving every incredible moment of not only the day, but the whole planning journey that we have with that couple. But we also want to credit and honor our fellow colleagues as well, and make sure they get a shout out for their involvement in your special day too. So rather than having everybody individually coming to you and saying who is your team and things like that. If you have that already in one document, in one page, all you need to do is export it and email it out to everybody. It's a one-stop document, right? Easy. And then the last component to that I mentioned was the timeline or wedding schedule. So this sheet on the document is, I guess I like to sort of instruct couples that, or I guess inform couples that this is a working document from the day that we commence it to the week of the wedding even. It's meant to be something that's sort of in draft mode all the time, because we're slowly filling in gaps and information and tweaking as we go. And then what we'll do is then send a copy of that, a draft copy of that, to the relevant suppliers that need to know that. So that's because if there's a change in the timeline, it will directly impact those kinds of suppliers. So we sort of put it to them and just get them to have their eye over it and make sure there's not going to be any overlap or any concerns with interruptions to food service, with speeches or photography and that sort of thing. And what we also account for within that timeline is travel as well, which I think is something that gets really easily overlooked. It's got to be a two-way street, that this timesheet, this schedule is ideal, but if we need to tweak it by 10 minutes so we can make sure that you're arriving on time to capture these important moments, then yes, let's chat about that and accommodate that. And then we also communicate back with you as the couple on that too. So that's what I mean by it needs to remain a working document, because things shift and alter all throughout the planning process. Sometimes we like to try and have it as finalized as possible the week before the wedding, so we can then distribute a final copy to all of the suppliers involved. But things pop up. It has in the past, and sometimes the week of the wedding we need to slightly tweak things, which can happen, which is totally fine. And then we just resend out a new copy of that to everybody involved, including your MC and things like that too. So these stage 2 sounds very like a lot. I understand that, but if you're familiar with Google Docs or Excel spreadsheets, then I really strongly suggest that you hit pause when you need to on this video, replay, and take some notes down as to what I spoke about, and start creating your own spreadsheet. Or if you are in need of help with the planning phase, with everything that I just spoke to, then this is a service that we offer here at ETC Events, in conjunction with our design and styling services. So this wedding planning package, I'm afraid, is not a individual package that we offer solely on its own. We offer that as an addition to our design and styling services too. So, and with that you get access to the planning documents that I spoke about, and also access to us to be able to hold your hand and help you guide you through all of that and plug in the appropriate information where. So that is in a nutshell where I guess I would start with the wedding planning process, and how I would then navigate that and work through that from the time that you're looking to start this process to all the way leading up to the wedding. If you are looking to do the planning yourself, then yeah, like I said, spreadsheets are going to be your best friend, and it's about making them as user-friendly as possible. That we always say that somebody who hasn't seen your wedding before is able to look at it, pick it up, and know exactly what it means. If you can get that, if you can nail that, then you're on a home run. So I wish you all the best with your planning. Yeah, if you do need some assistance in it, please feel free to reach out to me or my team. You can reach out on Instagram at etc.eventstyling, or jump onto our website and fill out the contact form, which is www.etcevents.com.au. But that is all from me, all from me. It's been a long day for now, and I look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Bye.